Welcome, everybody, to another different viewpoint episode of Lockdown 23 and 1. Today, we're going to be speaking about the star from the hit movie Home Alone, Mr. Buzz. That's right, the bully brother himself. He happened to have just finished a court process that took over 3 years, but he was found guilty, and we're going to speak about it. You know, a lot of people didn't like Buzz, including myself. He's always telling Kevin, "Get out of my room, you little shit." Actually, I was his uncle, man. Everybody was dish ragging old Kevin in that kitchen, including his dad. Look, a lot of people don't know that in the first movie, when they're eating that pizza and stuff, his dad goes to throw away his plate, and he doesn't know that he's throwing away Kevin's passport at the same time. Shows like a little millisecond of it flying into the trash. Never knew until about 20-some years later. When you're a kid, you're just looking at all the pizza and stuff, saying, "God, I wish my dad would buy some tonight." Anyways, man, it's sad to see these, stars that played a big role, if you were to ask me, in my life growing up, get hemmed up later on down the road. We just did one on Zach from the Home Improvement Show, man. That one really breaks my heart. He'll be all right, though. He'll be all right. Anyways, let's get into this story today, ladies and gentlemen. If you're new to the channel and enjoy all things lockup and crime related for some strange reason, then this is where you want to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and check out my playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today. So I'm going to be reading this article, and once again, it's coming from good old TMZ. It's funny, too, because, a lot of people say, man, their sources are unreliable, right? When it comes to certain stories, but 5 stories before that story, you were using their articles. Which one is it, man? Do you trust them enough to use them or not? Which one? Right? So, I choose to use any kind of mainstream, article that's kind of similar to everybody else's. Then I'll give you my 2 cents on it, you know what I mean? But if you're to ask me, they are completely reliable. Everybody gets things wrong from time to time, but for the most part, they got some good intel. They dig. Y'all see them out in the streets hawking all these superstars down, man. They're putting in work. Anyways, the article begins with Devin Rattray. Hopefully I pronounced that right. I had no idea this was even his real name. We're just going to call him Devin. He must be French, though. Mr. Devin, who famously played Buzz in Home Alone. That's the coolest nickname, too, by the way, Buzz. If I ever have a son, that's what I'm naming him. Devin has reached a resolution in his domestic violence case in Oklahoma, and the deal he struck will keep him out of jail. Oh, man. Yeah, this is going to be a sensitive one, but I'm going to give you, probably a different look into these DVs than you've ever had. You know why? A lot of people might not know. But I've showed the paperwork and talked about it a bit. I've got 2 DVs on my record. One I beat, one I was found guilty. I went to trial for both of them at the same exact time, and they were both on my wife. I'd say about 13 years ago, and guess what? I'm still married to the same girl. Had 2 more kids, and play Call of Duty together every single night. I tell people all the time, you got to know when to hold them and fold them in these relationships. And look, me and Brittany, we always knew that we had a deep, strong love for each other. We were soulmates. We knew that as soon as we locked eyes. We had so many bumps in the road, but look, once, the judge sent both of us to jail. That's right, when I was convicted for that puppy, they sent me to jail with her. The courts were tired of us. We went in there like 3 times within 2 months. So another thing I always say is, look, just because y'all are having these type of issues, all right, even though sometimes you really do need to walk away, a lot of other times, people are fighting, sticking through the bull crap, the fights, petty stuff, and it turns out to be a long-lasting marriage. Both y'all holding hands into eternity. Right? That's how I look at it now. I don't know what the hell I'd do without Brittany, man. She's like a piece of me. We have literally became almost one, if you're to ask me. Amazing, man. Our story is truly amazing. If I knew how to write a book or had people that could write a book for me, this is just a shout out to y'all. Let's write my life story, and I'll give you, I don't know, I gotta do some research. I'm guessing maybe 17% of all profit or something. I don't know. Anyways, I'm derailing from the quest here. What I'm trying to say is, man, you got to look at things from a different perspective, especially after hearing my story. True love sometimes might run into a DV jank. One more thing before we move on to the article, all right? A lot of people want to know what happens, if you go into places with a DV crime, misdemeanor DV. Felony, it's a different story. But for me, when I had a misdemeanor, I went in there and asked everybody if they ever had one and what happened to them. I wasn't worried about telling them that I'm in there for bullshit. It's funny though, almost every person in there for those type of crimes is they're innocent. I know they're not. Not the majority of them probably aren't. I don't know. Maybe they are. All right, so let's finish this article. It says the actor pleaded guilty to 2 counts of domestic violence Wednesday, which finally brought the case to a close after it had been pending for nearly 3 years. And I had a good attorney going through my court cases, man. I never, ever could get them things delayed for longer than, a few months. Tops. I don't know how these guys get years waiting to go to trial, right? Man, it makes no sense to me. But he did, and the court documents obtained by TMZ showed that after entering his plea, he was sentenced by a judge and he'll just be on probation for the next 3 years. And that's another major thing I want people to understand. Look, these type of situations, if you really did cause some serious bodily injury to someone, and I'm not speaking about a superstar, right? I'm speaking about an average Joe. You're going to be going to prison, chances are. So the amount of time that a person gets sentenced for these type of crimes means a lot to me as well. If he didn't get like months to years in prison or jail for this crime, then chances are it probably wasn't as serious as people might think. If someone seriously injures someone, they're not going to be getting probation. Just keep that in your mind, man, because a lot of people think that, because we do stories on these movie stars all the time. Yeah, they might be catching breaks. They might have the best attorney in town. But the average guy is usually going in there with what? A court-appointed attorney, which many people already know ain't worth a shit for the most part. Sometimes you get some good ones. But a lot of them, they don't fight for you and they just try to get you to cop out to a plea bargain and all this stuff, get it done and over with, move to the next trial, next case. Because they got so many. The majority of people out there can barely afford their groceries. So, of course, they're not going to be able to afford their attorney. Court-appointed attorney it is then, sir. And I look at that kind of like an indigent kit in the cell block. It's free from the state. They give you toothpaste, deodorant, but it's the worst of the worst stuff. They'll rip the skin off your armpit. Don't use the state stuff. Anyways, all right. So this is just my 2 cents. Y'all can look at all this stuff however you want to. All right. I'm just giving you a different view if you want to use it. As far as this guy's situation, I don't know how serious it was. Look, he's a movie star, superstar. If you were to ask me, he's Buzz. When it comes down to these type of individuals, man, anything can happen. I'm not here to judge Mr. Buzz, with him being on probation, as long as he gets his stuff together, never let something like this happen again. I'm not going to fast forward his scenes in Home Alone, no. And if I see him in public, I'm going to try to get his autograph, while also being ordered to complete a batterer's intervention program and undergo a drug alcohol assessment. I'm guessing he was probably under the influence when all this took place. And, typically a lot of these situations are like that. A couple goes out, gets a few drinks, then you start seeing a different side of them. Someone ain't going to have time for it. And guess what? It's going to turn into a dispute. It says Devin, who appeared via video link with his attorney, is also required to cover court costs and have zero contact with the victim. You'll remember, Devin was arrested after he was accused of pushing, punching, and pressing his hands against his ex-girlfriend's throat during a drunk altercation in December 2021. He was later released on a $25,000 bond. If they have a felony, chances are they did something a bit more dramatic than, getting caught up in a little shoving contest. But at the same time, like I already said, the amount of time that someone gets is vital to the situation, if you're to ask me as well. Even though he is somewhat of a superstar, I don't think he would have been spared that much if he caused some serious harm. Just my 2 cents. These crimes, I always question everything. There's 2 sides to every story. And, just to be completely honest, some states, when you have a domestic violence call and the police show up, it's mandatory that one of those people go to jail. But I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I got to go hit traps today. Did biceps yesterday. Look, this is natty. This is all natural. No steroids, man. And the steroid game is ruining our natural physique because everyone, even if you're natural, is going to think you're on damn roids. Stay tuned, though. I got plenty more content coming your way. A few more interviews and some wild stories about inmates losing their life in prison. Even though I haven't reported on them in a while, doesn't mean the violence stops in prison. Trust me, it's happening. It's getting darker and darker every single day. So as always, y'all be easy, be safe, and more importantly than anything, stay free.